Welcome to another episode of From the Mayor's Desk with our guest, Mayor Tim Woolley of the City of Taylor. This is the episode for October of 2024. I'm your host, Carl Zymak. Tim, welcome to the set again.
Welcome. Happy Halloween.
Hey, I heard, yeah, really, right around the corner.
Today?
Hey, I heard you, yeah, it is today.
It is today.
Just goes to show you when you don't have young kids, you don't remember sometimes.
That's right.
Hey, tell me about, you guys just went to Niagara Falls.
We did, yeah, actually. It was kind of nice. Right around, we had our anniversary and told
many
Amy,
years is that?
it was 33 this year,
Whoa,
So,
okay.
I told Amy, let's try to sneak away for a few days and made a long weekend out of it. I'd never been there before, so Amy went as a young kid, so we were just trying to pick a place, maybe, get away for a few days and so that's only 4 hours away, and we decided to take a road trip, which was nice. And the fall colors were blooming, and we actually had a really good time. It was nice. It's a beautiful area. We did a lot of walking, but it was a nice ride there. We went through Windsor, and actually came back through Port Huron, because there was a lot of construction coming back through Canada. But it was a good time. I'd never been there before. Had a beautiful room with a view, of the falls, which was nice. And
Where'd you stay, Tim?
the Embassy Suites,
Okay.
Which
All
was
right.
right down by the falls, but kind of away from everything. So we kind of had to walk, chose to walk, and stuff. So, but it was nice, and we took the boat ride up to the falls and stuff, which I didn't realize. The Maid of the Mist is actually on the American side.
Okay.
So we stayed on the Canadian side. So it's called something else, and I can't remember, but. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do that, but the wife really wanted to, and once I did it, I'm so glad we did, because it's a whole nother view from being down there, and basically we were on the top deck,
Right.
up towards the front, so we had a good spot, and it was really cool. It was really impressive.
Well
It's,
worth your while. Huh?
Yeah, it was nice. It's something that 3 or 4 days I think is a good trip there, and. We went Thursday through Saturday, basically, and or Wednesday night evening through Saturday, and it was a great trip. It was nice to get away for a few days, and it was just me and her, and we had a good time.
Talk about another fun thing. Just finished Hollapalooza last
Oh, yeah.
week. And you and the team over from City Hall was dressed up as Jurassic Park. Tell us how you got to that.
Yeah, we actually got some pretty good reviews. That's my favorite event, Carl.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely one, if not the top, because so many kids come through. They're very excited, and it's very well run. Our Parks and Rec crew do a phenomenal job with that. 2,500, I think, plus kids come through. A lot of the families dress up together, and stuff. So it was a little more spread out this year. So it made it even, I thought, move a lot better. And but last year, if you remember, we were Ghostbusters, and it was probably 75, 80 degrees last year, and I was in that thick green Slimer monster costume, and it was pretty warm in there. So this year, I kind of had the easier role of, I was describing myself as a jumbo version of Dr. Grant from Jurassic Park, and then Michelle and Kimber got to play the dinosaurs in the kind of the heavier outfit. But it was kind of a perfect weather day, a little overcast, but 60s, and definitely a great event, and everybody else dressed up, and it was just a good time.
It's really turned into a fabulous event. I mean,
I'm really happy with the reviews. People see, they say it's their favorite. Trunk or treats are kind of, in my opinion, kind of ruining Halloween a little bit. As opposed, because I love Halloween. I'm leaving a little early today so I can hand out candy, but I'm happy to see that ours is so successful the way it is and stuff, and I think it's it's free for residents, and it's a minimal amount for non-residents, but it sells out, it books up quick, and I think that's the biggest complaint, is people complain because they can't.
Right.
But I tell people every year, as soon as you see it, you better register, because if you wait, chances are. But it's a great event, and I look forward to it every year.
Especially when it combines with a good day, and it was another good day. The rain held off.
60, probably mid 60s, and it's just rough on the back. It's a long day, a lot of standing and stuff. So we take our lawn chairs to hopefully get a little sit down time. But we kind of take breaks here and there. But it's steady for a good 4 or 5 hours. So.
We are going to focus heavily on development today in this episode. But before we go there, former Mayor Rick Sollers recently accepted a plea deal from the U.S. Prosecutor's Office and was sentenced to nearly 6 years in prison on charges of corruption, stemming from the actions he took surrounding Wayne County's first refusal program in our city. Now that the end in sight, there were 3 other people who are involved in that. They're all slowly but surely pleading out or being sentenced. What's your reaction now that the end in sight? It's been going on for years.
Well, I mean, I don't really want to get too much into
Yeah.
the weeds on that. You know, I guess I'm happy it's over. You know, I mean, that door, in my opinion, is finally closed. You know, I think some people will try to continue to keep that door open. But I think, you know, to me, it was kind of a rough day, you know, when, you know, some people went a different way with it and stuff. You know, it was a mixed emotions for me that day and stuff. So I'm glad it's over with. I really am. I think that's, you know, we finally, you know, to me, I wanted to focus on other things from when I got in the office and change that tune a little bit. Being that it went on for as long as it went on made it a little difficult, but I think we managed that well. And now that everything has been decided on that, for the most part, I think 2 more people have to go. And but you know, to me, I think that door is finally closed, and you know, that's really all I really want to discuss about that situation.
Okay. All righty. Okay. Is there I know any of us who worked here and lived through that period, okay, the whole program was ironies, okay? I mean, the program itself, if you distilled the program down to what it did for the community, I think most people agreed that, hey, this was good.
I was
you
an
know?
avid fan of the program.
Yeah.
I will, you know, I will say that till my dying day. I think the program was great. I thought, especially at that time,
Right.
Yeah.
Let's shift to development. 2 huge projects in various stages in the city of Taylor. Ashley Capital is in the midst of mitigating a polluted site, contaminated site near 94 in Inkster, and will eventually be building, I believe it's a 500,000 square foot distribution center there called the Metro 94 Commerce Park. And then along North Line, the city has opened an industrial district for CMAC, logistics firm based in Brownstown, which is building out another large distribution center there. Can you? Why don't we start? Why don't we start with Metro 94? Where are we heading with this?
So there, I know Kyle reaches out to me pretty good, you know, as far as giving me updates. They have driven in the GeoPiers, which is what the building is going to sit on. And he just wanted to let me know, hey, let your call center know, like if people are hearing some loud, because they got to drive those into that ground.
Right.
So that's where they were at, and you know, all their permitting and everything and stuff. So that's moving, and I think they're going to start in the spring. Really start. You know, the berm has been put in, and so that way, you know, the neighborhood is kind of sheltered from a lot of that and stuff. So they're moving a little bit, but they're now, I think, going to really start ramping up. You know, what they're doing as far as the building and stuff now that the piers are in and stuff. So I don't know if they were going to plan on pouring, you know, like the foundations and everything this fall, but I think they're waiting maybe till next spring or something. And then that, once they get that in, it's really going to, you know, because I know they pushed back that 94 off ramp right there because they're going to redo that. And I think they pushed that back to 2026, if I'm not mistaken. It might even be 2027. So they're going to change that a little bit, because coming off of 94, westbound onto E-course, you know, you can't make a left onto Inkster,
Right.
and so they're revamping all that. So that's going to definitely change. So they're kind of, Ashley's looking at that too, and that's depending on how quickly they're going to be doing things, because a lot of their traffic will be coming off that way.
Right.
So that ramp's going to be closed down for quite a while
Right.
when they do that. So they're keeping that in mind too. But there's other avenues that logistics companies or whatever goes in there will be able to come in from different ways.
You pretty pleased with what you're seeing? Because I know you were, I'm not going to say heavily critical, but you were concerned. You had grown up in that area. Your dad still lives in that area.
Yeah, I was a no vote.
Yeah, exactly.
Originally, I was a no vote.
And you were, I guess, skeptical.
Yeah,
at first.
yeah.
Do you like what you're seeing?
Yeah,
from that?
absolutely. You know, I've said many times, like when I voted no, I was concerned about the height of the building. There was a few things, you know, one of the, you know, because a lot of the people that live there are still my old neighbors and friends and everything, and I understood, you know, and then, you know, after it passed, you know, I was always the person that when I was on council, if I lost a vote, you know, I would at least kind of, okay, you know, they're going to be moving forward, so at least, you know, unless I was dead against something,
right?
You know, and there was maybe a project or two that I was like that where I voted no on everything, you know, so. But that was one that I'm like, okay, I can understand, and you know, and I talked to those neighbors and the residents that lived in that area, and kind of had more conversations with them because I think that was the biggest thing we did wrong. That was the one thing I learned from that we didn't communicate with those residents the way we should have.
Right.
Big learning curve for me, you know, definitely on council, and I think we all learned a lot from that. So. That was a great experience for me as far as learning. Luckily, when I got in, Kyle and his team sat down with me and said, you know, hey, Mayor, I know you were, you know, kind of let's go over what your concerns were and stuff again. And to their credit, you know, we went through that and they said, well, this is what we're thinking. And they kind of were willing to work a little bit with me at that point, you know, and they said, you know, we can move it back a little bit. We're going to put this berm and we're actually going to lower, because the height of the building was concerning to me. And then I thought it was a little, so they moved the building back more towards 94. The berm was definitely going to shelter the residents and stuff. And they actually lowered the height of the actual building and stuff. So I thought that was something they didn't have to do because they already had permission and everything and stuff. So I thought that was nice that they were even willing to do that, you know, and sit down and talk with me, you know, and stuff. So, and they've been great at communicating with us and, you know, letting us know what they're doing. And, you know, they've been a good partner.
Well, if this comes off the way we think it's going to come off, it really kills two birds with one stone, and presents some real positives because, number one, that site's been polluted forever. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I didn't even know, like I said, I grew up playing. That was an old field when I grew up, and we had many kids in that neighborhood had forts, and we rode our bikes, and, you know, it was definitely, I mean, when I was a kid, my neighbors used to hunt back there, you know, and it was, you know, so it was, you know, I didn't even know it was an old landfill, you know, so.
Well, and the other portion of it is based on Ashley Capital's own history. They've taken a lot of sites just like this.
Yeah, they
similar to
specialize
this.
on it. Yeah, they look for those.
Yeah, and in a decade afterwards, they've been real good. So that is a.
Well, I think it's going to stimulate that area too, because I know Romulus is even, you know, that was one of their thoughts when they, you know, they're redoing Ecorse Road on their side.
Right.
You know, they're investing money down there to redo that area, and I think that investment there by Ashley Capital is what made them decide to go ahead and redo that area of Ecorse between Inkster and Middlebelt.
Now, CMAQ, a little bit different, okay? The city council voting to create that industrial district, an abatement comes with that, correct? And what are you expecting out of CMAQ? They seem to be a really good
they've been great to work with. I mean, great family. I went over and toured their facility in Brownstown, and you know, the Christies are a great family. Got to sit down and talk with them. They're veteran owned. You know, I met the dad, the actual, you know, he's an Air Force guy, so of course me being an Army guy, we chatted it up a little bit, you know, and ripped on each other. But it was a beautiful facility. I mean, I was blown away with it, you know, and talking to the employees, they were all very happy to work there and stuff. So great morale, great environment and everything. So, you know, that was one of the things when we came in, it just seemed like nothing was going on there, so we kind of wanted to get that conversation going and stuff. But you know, the price of everything had been going up, and so we were glad once that thing was going. And then, you know, they were talking about an abatement, and I said, yeah, let's. And then Aerotropolis came and said, it's a PA or P, I can't remember, 198 or whatever that
Yeah,
we could
I
offer,
forget
and
what-
it's
yeah,
basically like what we do. It's
Right.
it's an abatement, but it's through Aerotropolis, and the good thing is they kind of manage everything, so it makes it a little easier on our staff,
Right.
as far as like Chris Girdwood, who is our rep from Aerotropolis. They have to do all the reporting to him, so they have to do like monthly updates, or quarterly updates to make sure that they're meeting the expectations of this agreement. So it's a tax break, but it's only a 50% tax break for 8 years. And it's a $40 million investment.
Right.
And that's going to help stimulate that area. So to me, I thought it was a really good deal. And it was something that I didn't even realize that Aerotropolis offered. And instead of paying our lawyer and having our, hey, if they can do this as far as part of our membership, let's look at, it was something of kind of like, hey, I didn't know we could even do this, so let's take advantage of this. And that's what we did,
And you
so
now sit on the Aerotropolis.
I am on
board.
the Aerotropolis board, yes. Me and a few other cities,
Right.
as far as, and it's a great board to be a part of. And like I said, I was very critical of it, but now that there's been stability there, and I can't say enough good things about Chris Girdwood. He does a phenomenal job running that. And,
Well, he seems like a really top-notch guy.
he is.
because,
Yep, he's. He's got that. I always tease him. He's like. He reminds me of a hippie. He's got that nothing rattles him. He's always calm and cool, and he sets up meetings, and like I think it was a couple weeks ago, he sets up usually every 6 months or a year he'll set up a meeting at Lakes of Taylor, a luncheon that Aerotropolis pays for, and he invites all these investors and financial people and stuff, and to come and have lunch with me and to discuss the city, what we have. And it's good because I get to learn from them, like what in the industry is popping, like what's going on out there, what are people looking for, what type of investments, what kind of property are they looking for, and for what.
Right.
So it's good. And from that, Chris just reached out to me. There's somebody that's looking at some of our property over there by CMAX, so we might have another potential
Which would be
landing
fantastic.
spot for somebody, which will be good. But
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, when they see those almost quasi-government entities like that, they always question kind of the worth,
Well, that was me. When I was on council for the longest time, my question would be, okay, we're paying these yearly dues.
Yeah.
What have you done for us lately? And
right.
well, it was 1989 that we got this, and it's like, okay, well, it's 2013, and
Right,
stuff. So, I was one of those critical guys, and it seemed like every time we turned around, they were getting a new director, and it was just, I was getting a little frustrated there, and it's like we had an economic development person and stuff, but since Chris has got there, it's been night and day, and it's he sells our, it's just another added, person that helps, sell our city,
Right,
basically.
and that's important. That's really important. We were at the Chick-fil-A grand opening on Eureka Road in front of Southland Center. What'd you think of the place?
I was impressed, I mean, they had people from all over the country there, different departments and stuff. So I was very impressed with the facility. I thought it was nice. It was great to meet the owners, young couple.
Yes.
They had a couple small kids, so that's a big, taking on a big responsibility with that young family like that and stuff. And his name was Anthony, and I can't remember his wife's name. But
Yeah.
great people
Yeah.
seem like, and very excited to come to the community. And but I thought the restaurant looked really nice. Everything was great, and they gave us a tour. It was very impressive. I was shocked to learn that they bring all their vegetables and fruits in every day, fresh. That was kind of impressive to me for a fast food place.
Yeah.
And just it was. I thought it was nice, and I thought it was a really nice place. I've been there like once or I think probably twice now since the grand opening, and everything's been pretty good. And it's just I think to me, people, we don't need another fast food restaurant or whatever, but you know what, some people like it, some people don't. I get it. They, you know, it's just another choice out there, you know. And to me, you know, that Little Daddy's location was looking a little shabby. So, you know, to me, I think that's a really nice looking building out there, and people can choose whether they want to go there or not.
Yeah,
You know, at the end of the day. But to me, I think it looks a lot nicer than it has been for the last 10 years, you know, of that building falling apart there.
exactly, and they're going to employ a slew of people, and you know, I mean, and Little Daddy's was closed.
Yeah.
So
Well, Carl, I think the biggest thing is people say, well, why don't you bring this here, or why don't you bring? I don't have any control.
Yeah.
Nobody has any control over that.
Right.
But I will tell you this, that having a Chick-fil-A is big, because other companies will use that as, well, if there's a Chick-fil-A there,
right.
that's a market. You know, so believe it or not, there's companies or you know, restaurants or anything that other companies use as a model, like, okay, if they have this, then we're interested in coming there. And believe it or not, Chick-fil-A is one of those businesses. And
Well,
so that's a good thing to have right there.
Well, everywhere they go, they're a huge draw. That's for
what,
sure.
absolutely.
And speaking of another one that's very popular is Sheetz, the convenience center based out of Pennsylvania. They built a new site north of the airport in Romulus.
Yeah,
and now they're
Mayor
gonna,
McRae got the first one.
Yeah, there you go.
we were close, but they got the first one.
And now we're going to have two here, okay? And one is going to be fairly close to your home.
Yeah, it's actually going to be probably 100 yards away from my house. So, you know, again, people are, well, what do we need another gas station for? You know, 80% of their business is food.
Yeah.
I've never been, I still haven't eaten at a Sheetz. So I did take a ride out to Romulus to check out the one out there. Beautiful facility, clean. The line was so long that I didn't wait in line for the food because, and I had a lot of people reaching out to me when they heard. So, you know, to me, you know, when they came and presented to me and stuff, I want cleanliness. You know, and the one thing I like about, that's a family-owned business, and it's, you know, and they preach cleanliness, and that's what I want. Because a lot of, I gotta watch how I say this, but a lot of businesses, they just don't take care of their places like they should.
Right.
You know, and that deters me from going from one place or another. You know, like if I got, you know, I'll pay, you know, a little more money for something if it's cleaner than the other place. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want. And Sheetz brings that. And so I'm okay with that. Right. And only 20% of their business is gas. So I get
amazing.
it. You know, people are like, what do we need another gas station for? To me, I want a clean place that's going to, you know, make our city look a little nicer, you know, at the end of the day. And, you know, people are always going to need gasoline, but I agree. I don't want gas stations, you know, every other, you know, and so, you know, we're selective on that, but I'm happy to have Sheetz here, and I'm glad they're coming. A lot of people are thinking that they're going over by Menards. That's not Menards. That's Main Event.
Yeah.
The Sheetz, the one location is going to be in front of the hotels on the other side of 75,
Correct. Yeah.
and then the Sheetz is going to be right on the corner of Champaign and Telegraph, and they're going to take down part of the strip mall on that corner, and it's going to be right there, right by the Yum Yum Donuts and
Right.
That's
what, China Buffet in there
I think it
or
is,
something
but I
like
think
that,
it's got
yeah,
a different
yeah.
name now.
Yeah,
But it's
okay,
Star
right.
Buffet or something.
Yeah,
like that,
something
or
like that,
but
yeah,
that's going to
exactly.
stay there, but the rest of that strip mall is going to come down.
Okay. Well, it'll be an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Took a while to get into the marijuana race here across Michigan, and it took quite a while here in Taylor. And now we're seeing that first wave, I think, come to fruition here in Taylor. I know it looks like the first one's going to open on Eureka. What are you hearing and seeing?
Well, yeah, I've seen people like complaining, like, when are they going to open? When are they going to open? And, you know, we have that's not on
Right.
us. That's
Yeah,
on
that's
them.
them.
So
Yeah.
3 permits were granted. like you said, I think it's looking like maybe the one on Eureka is going to, they're doing a lot of work over there. I haven't seen the other ones. I haven't been by there, so I don't know where they're at as far as their construction or whatever. I don't think they had to do too much, but it looks like the one on Eureka is doing a lot of. It's actually looking pretty nice, from what I'm seeing. You know how I felt about this, but they're here, yeah, I think they're probably going to be one of the first ones to open at the rate they're doing the construction over there. So, but again, I haven't rode by the other 2 locations to see where they're at. So, but as far as when they're going to open, that's on them. The city has nothing to do with that. I mean, they're still going to have to go through the inspection process and everything. So as long as they're doing all that and they meet that, they're going to be able to open. But I was kind of shocked that it took them as long as it has to kind of get things rolling. But that industry does seem to be really slowing down. So I think that might have had a lot to do with it as well.
Speaking of grand openings, Twins Automotive on Telegraph opened in the old Cartwright location, just north of Northline. That was a big grand opening.
That was a big, yeah, they had everything out there.
They really did.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Yeah, that was pretty nice, So, yeah, we went over there together, and they had all kinds of things out there and stuff. So, yeah, that was a pretty nice.
From radio stations to pizzas to DJ.
Pizza, brick oven pizza and everything and stuff. I didn't stay for that. I don't know if you did, but they had the coffee and tea thing, and then they had all kinds of other stuff. But it was nice to meet the twin brothers, and stuff, and a lot of family was there and stuff. So, it was nice to see them. It's. They seem to be growing. They got quite a few locations and stuff, so they seem to have a pretty good business plan then, so hopefully they do well there, so.
Well, you touched upon Main Event, latest addition to Traders Point. Already you have Menards and BJ's Wholesale Warehouse in there. Main Event, which is an adult entertainment center, kind of?
Well, no, I think they're more of a, they're like Dave and Buster's. But they kind of, the way they presented it, it's more of for younger families. I can't really remember, they got a lot of things there.
Yeah.
Kudos has been a great partner with the city, so, I think Kudos was a little concerned that they were gonna, but I think Kudos gears more towards the adults. Where I think Main Event is more towards families, younger families and stuff. It's going to be a very big location and stuff. So, I'm looking forward to see what they have to offer. I think they might offer some of the same things, but I think between the two, I think they I think they're going for different crowds, so I don't think it's going to affect Kudos that much or whatever,
It is nice to see Traders Point continue to grow out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, there's a lot of property over there, and definitely want to see that grow. I wasn't aware, and I keep forgetting to stop into planning. I saw a picture posted on social media of all places of there's going to be a Korean. What is it?
The Korean barbecue place.
Yeah,
that's going into
Wahlburgers.
Yeah, that's going into the old Wahlburgers.
I keep forgetting to stop in planning to see if there's been anything turned into that, on that or whatever, because I don't even know if that's. But
I know when I stopped by there,
I hear they're popular. I've never been to one. But
I heard they were popular, but all they had was some, kind of like banner signage coming soon, that kind of thing. The nice thing about the Wahlbergs location, of course, it depends on what you want to present. As the new business, but that location was really well done on the inside.
Yeah, it was not. I think pricing was the issue.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, I liked Wahlburgers. I thought, but when you compare prices to other places, I thought they were probably on a little too high on the pricing. There. So, and I think that's what hurt them.
When it comes to economic development, you recently hired a new director, Mark Kibbe. He's been employed throughout the Downriver region. Comes with quite a resume. You had to be pleased with being able to finally get him.
I'm very pleased. It was one of those things that kind of, I was shocked there was a little, situation early on there. It was, we've been looking for an economic development director. Tim Keys has done a phenomenal job as kind of a part-time director. Paula's done a phenomenal job up there keeping it afloat, but when we were looking, we received a call because, he came from Allen Park. And Carl, you know me, I'm not trying to poach anybody's people, and I have a great relationship with Mayor McLeod in Allen Park. And, got word that Mark was interested, and so, talked to him, and it was like, hey, I don't want, have you talked to the mayor, because I don't want her, and so at that point it was he was interested. And then, but you know how things work, he was in a tough position and stuff, and he ended up staying in Allen Park. And then I before he made that decision, had a great conversation with Mayor McLeod. She knew that Tim, I know you're not the kind of guy. I'm happy for Taylor, and our loss is your gain. And if I'm happy for Mark, I'm happy for you, and everything like that. Well, that was before Mark decided to stay. So Mark ended up deciding to stay, which kind of stunk. Okay, but I get it. He was so we were looking to start to look again and stuff like that. So. There was a few things that was in, I think he realized, he really
wanted to go.
Yeah, I think he really wanted to go, and so, it worked out good that the position was still available, and had a great meeting, actually, me, him, Mark, Chris Girdwood, Tim Keys, and Dan all met yesterday at Lakes of Taylor just to kind of get everybody in the same room, meet everybody, kind of talk about everything that's going on, and getting him, we wanted to give him a little time to kind of get his feet wet and everything and stuff, but he's fitting in great, and he's one of these guys. I knew Mark, met him a couple times, but I didn't really know him. But man, he's really highly respected, because everywhere I went, everybody was like, man, you're getting a great guy. You're getting a great guy. Even Mayor McLeod, it's like, and he's just seems to be fitting in really good. He's he's a great asset, I think, and he's fitting right in with the team. I mean, he seems like a really good guy.
Well, it's funny how that works out sometimes, because he was a city administrator there. Okay, so he was essentially in charge of everything. Okay, reporting to the council, and then he decides to take a job as a director here. But I know, talking to him, he's he has a very keen interest in economic development, and it's kind of like where he started in college, and then drifted off.
Well, he said he was into architecture.
Right,
was
exactly.
his big thing, and so I learned that yesterday.
Right.
And so he's and what reminded he was just I always say, nobody has the Rolodex that Tim Keys has. Tim Keys knows everybody. I mean, he can just think, if you have a conversation with Tim Keys knows who to call or whatever. It's unbelievable. And Mark was kind of showing me that a little bit yesterday, like, wow, this guy knows a lot of, and so I was kind of glad to see that, and so I think that just made me that much more happy. And I know me and Dan were really glad to hear that, he was interested in coming again, and, he was, like, hey, I understand that, but it all worked out great.
Yeah,
I'm very happy he's here, and he seems to be happy he's here. So, I'm really glad.
Kind of an all's well that ends well.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
for sure.
And I'm glad. There was no, me and Mayor McLeod are cool. And again, when she came, after she heard he was, and she came to me again and said to him again, our loss is your gain, and I totally understand Mark's reasoning. So.
Well, it'll be real interesting to have a new person come in with a new set of eyes on things.
The thing is, to be honest with you, it's kind of been, a city this size. We have a lot of property. We have, when people call, they're kind of getting, like literally, our economic development has been Tim Keys, Paula, Dan Bazura, Tim Woolley.
Yeah.
You know, we're all kind of, you know, and it's nice to now just be able to say, here you go.
Here's
you
your
know,
person.
and so, and him and Paula has been working great together already. So that's awesome. You know, so you know, he came in and he's like, you know, she's great, you know, and stuff. So you know, that's I'm really happy everything's going really well there. You know, so.
When it comes to development, it's not all business. The city isn't standing pat itself, along with a huge expansion to the animal shelter, which we've discussed in the past. We're rebuilding the old Lang Park site into a new kind of extreme games park. And the petting farm is getting a new pavilion, which is going to be able to increase its services. Tell us about Lang Park first. When's the last time you've been out
So
there?
I went over there a few days ago.
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
All
actually I
right.
ran into Joe and Sam over there. Me and Guido, Guido's like, have you been over there? And I said, you know, Guido, I haven't. So I hadn't seen the new playscape or the you know, the ground that they put, you know, and everything. So they were clearing, you know, the road, you know, and all that stuff. So very, very happy with what I'm seeing. And I'm now that I'm seeing all the work that's going in and everything, it's going to be great. You know, I'm really excited about that. So, you know, I know you guys are really focusing on getting, like, you know, I think you guys are going like every week or 2 weeks,
yeah,
taking
yeah,
photos,
yeah.
you know, to kind of timeline everything and stuff. So, this is going to be a really cool place. I think, not, you know, I tell people all the time, it's going to be a great asset for the city, but not just the people, not just the residents of the city of Taylor are going to love this place. I think people from all over Wayne County and possibly the state are going to love this place.
And that'll be a a real cool thing. What about the petting farm? Isn't that the pavilion that originally was planned? That's changing a little bit now.
No, yeah. So they're doing like they were going to do the storage up top, being the way that it was designed or something. Now it's going to be like it's all going to be on the ground level. So it's going to be like there's going to be storage at one end, and then the pavilion will go off the back of that, which.
Right.
I kind of like that idea better because I was worried about the hay coming down or something, like falling through, you know, or something. If you're having a party down there, you don't want hay falling through or something. So it's just going to be, it's going to look exactly the same. It's just going to be a little design different or something like that. So I think they're going to start on that in the spring or something like that. Now, we were going to try to get it done in the fall, but it had to get pushed back a little bit, and I can't remember the reason why, but Guido did tell me that.
Well, the nice thing about that is, you know, it seems like there's never enough space at the petting farm because there's a lot of demand. There.
Very popular place.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great place. You know, we're talking about a few things we might do here at the petting farm. So that might be another show at some point. But me, Guido, and Melanie are got a meeting coming up about some potential things that we might add to the petting farm. So.
Which could be nice because it seems like, you know, the more offerings, you know, people like they love children's parties in there and things like that. There's you know, that synergy with all of the animals and stuff like that. Something that you just can't
we're
replicate.
talking about bringing in some new teammates, so to speak.
Gotcha. Okay. Alrighty. Okay.
You know.
Well, boy, we've covered a lot of ground today. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any department or anybody?
Yeah, you know, actually, I was thinking about this today, you know, because I know you always throw this at me, and I always forget about it, even though you ask me every meeting, or I mean every show. You know, there's two I want to, you know, I want to focus, you know, like I've said her name multiple times today. Paula Fisher has done an absolute amazing job as far as even with, you know, she's kind of split between economic development and community development. She has done an amazing job of, you know, when we didn't have a community development director, she kind of kept that department flowing. And with economic development going through what, you know, she's been incredible. And, you know, she's worked with me and Dan many times and definitely with Tim and stuff. So definitely want to give a shout out to her. The other person, you know, my old buddy, even though, you know, now that, you know, I've known him for a long time, and believe me, he doesn't get any special treatment, you know, at all, but Lanny Hall.
Okay.
You know, we've known each other since 8 years old, and people think, you know, it's funny because I want to touch on something. When you take a position like this, sometimes you got to be the bad guy, you know, and you know, with this position, you know, and I have to do that with a lot of people that I know, you know, and even people that I grew up with, you know. So even though I've known a lot of these people, even like Lanny, since I was 8 years old, sometimes I got to be the bad guy. But today I want to give Lanny a huge shout out because, you know, we sat down and talked about different programs and stuff, and Lanny's a guy, and you know, we've kind of been touching on these sycamore trees and stuff, and you know, Lanny kind of took over the tree crew when Sean Kimes retired, and he's just been able to get it rolling really well and stuff, and him and his team have done a great job on that. And not to mention, Lanny still has, you know, his finger. He's the general foreman, but you know, coming from the animal shelter, you know, he still has a lot to do with that. So Lanny gets a shout out today too. So I'll give him one too.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's about it for our show today. Thanks to Mayor Tim Woolley for coming on and sharing his views of all things Taylor. Did we miss anything, Tim?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
Not
either.
that I can think of, you know.
Next-
But you know me, I'll forget my name.
Well, next day, hey, Thanksgiving's right around the
Yeah.
corner, and we'll be right into the
Yeah, hopefully,
into the
you know,
holiday
we got a few
season.
more days till the election's over, and I think we can all be ready for that to be over with, you know. So,
Is it loud at City Hall these
you know
days?
what?
with all
I
those
will
people?
say, touch on that real quick. You know, if you remember the primary, the early voting was just. It was empty, and
Yes.
I was sitting around going, this is the biggest waste of money.
Right.
But I think we're averaging 500 people a day over there. So, I mean, it's kind of great to see. I almost wish we would have waited to clean our carpets until afterwards, because we just did it about 2 weeks ago. And I mean, there's just a steady stream of people coming in there nonstop. But I'm glad to see it. You know, it's good to see. So I'm glad to see people taking, you know, advantage of that
Right.
and stuff. And Cindy and her teams are doing a phenomenal job. So.
Well, I'll tell you, they're wearing out shoes themselves
Yeah,
because they're all
absolutely.
over the place.
Yeah,
they're all over the campus.
you know, they're permitted to wear tennis shoes this,
I hear
you
you.
know, during this time. So
Well, now that you've gone to Niagara Falls,
Mm-hmm.
okay, why don't we finish on this? You know, nobody's watching, so you can tell us where you're going to take the wife next time.
I don't know. It'll be 34 years, so I don't know. You know, I will have to figure that out or something. We don't always go someplace far, but you know, every now and then I get a little fatigued, you know, to where I just need to get out of here for a few days and stuff. You know, you know, sometimes we just try to get up north for a few days or something, and you know, like we were joking because we hadn't been to Las Vegas since my wife was pregnant with my daughter, you know, but I didn't feel like paying money to fly out there and lose
yeah.
some money, you know. But a lot of times we'd just go to Vegas just because we'd go to see the comedy show. We're not big
Oh, yeah.
gamblers or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, I hear you.
So, but we just thought it'd be cool to take a ride out there. So the one thing is we didn't realize how close Toronto was, and I've always wanted to go to Toronto and you know, check out the Hockey Hall of Fame and stuff. And so I don't know, just look for maybe one of those close places to check out. I've been through Nashville, but I've never seen, you know, downtown Nashville and stuff. But that seems to be getting more crowded and crazier by the day. So I don't know if that's just too busy for me or not. But
Well, when you put your mind
we'll figure
to it,
something out. But
it's amazing.
I got 35 coming, so that one might be, you know, a little one.
Well, it's amazing when you put your mind to it how many really good places that you can get to by car.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't mind taking I like
no.
taking a drive, especially in the fall.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, yeah, with
It's
the colors
beautiful out
blown, you know.
No doubt. Well, thanks for coming on, Tim.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time. For Samantha Ricker, Joe Camilleri behind the controls, I'm Carl Zymak. We'll see you on the next offering from the mayor's desk.